Hey guys, it's Cece, and today I'm here to talk about all of the books that I acquired way back in March. Am I just now barely getting back into the swing of filming videos? Yes. Am I going to promise that I will ever get caught up on the videos that I haven't filmed yet this year? I'm not. That would be foolish of me. In case you didn't know, March was my birthday. I turned 25. Oh my god, definitely didn't spiral into a panic about that. But I got a bunch of books for myself in March, and I was sent a ridiculous number of books in March. A ton of them are birthday presents, a ton of them were from publishers. I also pre-ordered a bunch of books in March. I don't actually know how many are in this stack, I just barely pulled them all out just now and set them around me, and it's a lot. But before we get into the book haul, I just wanted to shout out a very cool company named Thread Tank. If you haven't noticed, in my past few videos I have been wearing these fun printed shirts. So this one says book club, but I also wore another one that said well read. I also had another one that wasn't from the bookish collection over at Thread Tank, but was still very cool. They sent me all three of these shirts so that I could review them, promote them on my channel, and I'm really glad that I did because they are the softest shirts ever. I've been wearing them constantly. I took all three of them back with me when I went to visit my family, and I wore them daily. They're super soft, they're super comfortable, plus they are printed and made in-house, and I think it's just a really cool company overall. I've loved the three shirts that they sent me. They have a whole bookish collection, so like I said, I got two of the shirts from their bookish collection, and then I investigated some of their other stuff for my third shirt. But if you want to use the promo code CC10 at their website, you can get 10% off of your entire purchase. I thought that was cool. I like reviewing products, I like working with companies, and I'm really glad that I decided to work with Thread Tank, so go check out their shirts. But with that out of the way, we can go ahead and jump in to all of the books that I got in March. A lot of them. So my March haul also marks the last time that I was doing any kind of shopping for books in person. The first couple of days of March, I went to all of my usual secondhand book spots, Goodwill, Value Village, Half Price Books, and I bought books at all three of those places, and I haven't been back since because of, everything. So I have some books from all three of those places to talk about. We're gonna go with Goodwill first. First, I wanted to mention Who is Vera Kelly by Rosalie Knecht. This was a book, I think it came out in 2017, maybe 2018, that I was really excited about the year it was released. 2018. It's set in New York in 1962, and it is about a woman named Vera Kelly in Greenwich Village. She works night shifts at a radio station, and then she gets noticed by the CIA and kind of wound into that story. She's also very much a part of the gay scene of the time, and she herself is queer. So this was really hyped for me in 2018. It does have a sequel, and I've never seen it in person. This is from a small press, Tin House Books, which is apparently in Portland, Oregon. I wonder if that's how it wound up in Washington, because I've never seen this book in person before, but I thought it was time that I grabbed a copy of this. I've had an ebook for ages, but I'm terrible about reading ebooks, so I finally got a physical copy. I also got Follow Me to Ground by Sue Rainsford. I think I was interested in this because it sounded like weird fantasy, which is kind of my go-to at this point. Weird sci-fi and fantasy is my whole thing. It's about a father and daughter touched by the power to heal illnesses, and there's some other stuff to it besides that, but I was obsessed with this cover when it was first announced. Then it had some amazing reviews, so I decided to grab a copy. I'll let you know what I think of it. We also have Wanderers by Chuck Wendig. This is a huge fantasy book. I kind of picked this up on a whim. This is a 2019 release, and Chuck Wendig is a person I follow online. I really enjoy his posts. I think he's a very funny dude, and this is like a big, epic, post-apocalyptic sci-fi, I think. Oh, it's an apocalyptic epidemic. Wow, this was purchased in timely fashion. And it's about a girl, and she wakes up one day and her little sister is sleepwalking, and she can't be stopped, and so she sets out on the road with her little sister and meets a bunch of other people who are dealing with the same thing. I've just really liked Chuck Wendig, and I've been curious about his books, but it's gonna take me a while to get to this, because it is thick. I have two books from Half Price Books, both of which were kind of spur-of-the-moment purchases. So we've got The Near Witch by V.E. Schwab. I bought this purely because it's V.E. Schwab. I don't actually know anything about it. Oh, apparently there's a character named Cecilia. Always fun when there are characters who have my name. But yeah, I'm not going to tell you anything about this book because I know nothing about this book. It's V.E. Schwab. I will buy anything that she writes. And I believe this is the anniversary edition, like it's a brand new edition of the book, and I was just really surprised to find it in the store. It's even got a little ribbon bookmark, which is fancy as shit. Look at that. So yeah, I'll let you know what it's about when I read it. I also got Strangers on a Train by Patricia Highsmith. I have seen Strangers on a Train, I've seen the movie, and I have been just getting into some more like classic murder mystery stories. I have always loved Agatha Christie, and then I recently read The Haunting of Hill House by Shirley Jackson, which is a horror novel. Strangers on a Train is originally from 1950. It's a story about the perfect murder. In theory, it's about these two strangers who meet on a train, and they get to talking and complaining about a certain person in their lives, and then one of them suggests a crisscross. Each of them kills the other's person that they're having a hard time dealing with, so that the murder can never be tracked down to them. I really love the Hitchcock movie. I'm interested in classic mysteries and classic, like, murders, so I saw this at Half Price Books, and I just decided to go for it. Because I've never read a Patricia Highsmith book before, but this is a classic. Also, I think this cover design is cool. I also have a very small Value Village stack, also made up of older mysteries. So the two oldest mysteries are two books by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, The Sign of Four and The Hound of the Baskervilles, and a third one that for some reason is not on that list. A Study in Scarlet. I also got A Study in Scarlet. So I have read A Study in Scarlet. It was the first book, it was the first Sherlock Holmes story, and I was really taken with it because it's a cool mystery, but also because, weirdly, the villains in this story are Mormons, because at this time, Mormons were a strange fascination for people in Europe. It was this weird thing no one knew a lot about, but definitely they didn't like them. And for those of you who don't know, I grew up Mormon, I grew up in Utah, so I read this in college, and I already loved Sherlock. I'd already read some of the, like, shorter fiction before that, but reading this and having the villain be the LDS Church and Mormons, and specifically Brigham Young, was just really fascinating and weird from the perspective of someone who grew up Mormon. So I grabbed A Study in Scarlet and decided I do eventually want to read more Sherlock Holmes mysteries, so we've got The Sign of Four and The Hound of the Baskervilles. I think I've read some of The Hound of the Baskervilles before, but I've never completed it, and I've never read The Sign of Four, but I thought this was like a cool matching set from the side. Not so much the front, they're not super cute on the front, but like as a matching set, very into it. And then the other Value Village thing that I got that is a mystery is The Secret History by Donna Tartt. I have never read a book by Donna Tartt. I know she has this, and I know she has The Goldfinch, and a lot of people love both of them, and this was $4, so I decided to get it. I don't know anything about this. Is this the one that's, Dark Academia? Is that The Goldfinch? Is it both of them? Who's to say? Ooh, Under the Influence of Their Charismatic Classics Professor. That is definitely Dark Academia right there. I don't know anything else about it, I just decided to grab The Secret History. And then finally, for books I purchased myself, we have some books I purchased at like full price. Two of these were pre-orders. So first I've got these two books by Alison Cole, Can't Escape Love and A Prince on Paper. These are books like 2.6 and book 3 in the Reluctant Royals romance series. I talked about this in my last haul video because I read the first one and I bought the next two books in the series, and then I also bought these two, and they just didn't arrive until March. So I have the entire Reluctant Royals romance series. I own all of them. These are romance novels about royalty and love and misunderstandings, and I was initially drawn to them because the second book, or like one of the novellas, Once Ghosted, Twice Shy, is about two fabulous black women falling in love. These are all about black women finding love in some way or another. I also know that Can't Escape Love has a ton of hype because the main character is a character in a wheelchair. Another one of the books has a character with ADHD, so it's just about these intersectional fabulous black women finding love in royal situations. And I'm very into that, so I bought all of them. I also, for a time, thought I was going to be reading all of the, was it the Nebula nominees or the Hugo nominees? I had a plan for each of them at some point, and then quarantine just kind of kicked my ass depression-wise, so it didn't happen, but I was ordering some of the books that were nominated for those awards, and one of them was The Deep by Rivers Solomon, which is based on a story by the group Clipping, which is made up of David Diggs, William Hudson, and Jonathan Snipes. This is a novella. I have really wanted to read it. It was an anticipated release of last year, and then it got nominated for multiple awards. This is about the descendants of pregnant African slave women who were thrown overboard by slavers. It's about mermaids. It's queer. It is about oppression and history. I was really interested in a lot of the concepts of An Unkindness of Ghosts by Rivers Solomon that I read back in February, and after I read that book, I knew that I absolutely needed to read this one. I've heard amazing things. I'm planning on reading it during Pride, so very excited about this. And then I had 2 pre-orders. The first of those, Post-Colonial Love Poem by Natalie Diaz. The other one was The Fire Never Goes Out by Noelle Stevenson. These were both March 5th releases. March 5th? Am I remembering that from last year? What's happening? They're both March 3rd releases that I pre-ordered so that I could read them over the course of my March 3rd reading vlog, which I did. I read both of these. This is a poetry collection about the native body and the queer body and intersections of those identities, how bodies take up space in our society in different ways. And The Fire Never Goes Out is a memoir in pictures. It's a collection of Noelle's work over the past, decade or so of her life. I loved both of them. I covered both of them in my spring wrap-up. I'm really glad that I pre-ordered them. I also got sent an extra copy of The Fire Never Goes Out by the publisher. Harper Teen was really kind. They sent me a copy. They arrived on the same day, and I have since given away my other copy on Instagram. So sometimes I do little giveaways on Instagram if I end up with doubles of books. If you want to participate in that, maybe go follow me on Instagram. I'm working really hard on posting regularly there right now. So, okay, and the rest of these books were all sent to me by various people. Wait, I lied. There was actually one more that I pre-ordered. It was The Glass Hotel by Emily St. John Mandel. Someone's always gotta be doing yard work when I film. It's like clockwork. Well, I was really excited about The Glass Hotel because I love Station 11. It's one of my favorite books ever written. This is about a Ponzi scheme, I think. That's kind of all I knew about it. I pre-ordered it as soon as I was able ages ago because I have absolutely determined that I was going to read whatever Emily St. John Mandel published next, and that was The Glass Hotel. I have nothing else to say. Okay, let's talk about books that publishers sent me first, and then we'll wrap up the video by talking about books that you all sent me. So I have 2 books from Flatiron Books. We have Girl Serpent Thorn by Melissa Bashardust. This is a retelling of a Persian fairy tale, Persian mythology, about a girl who is poisonous to the touch. It's also queer as fuck, and I've been dying to read it. You all know this. I am obsessed with Melissa Bashardust. So they sent me this, which I was already dying over, but then they also sent me another book I've been super excited about, Una Out of Order by Margarita Montemor. And this is exactly my kind of shit, which is weird timeline-y stuff, where starting with a specific birth date, every year on her birthday, Una experiences a birthday of, way down the line in her life. So every year she's going to leap to another year of her life, totally at random. I'm obsessed with this concept. It sounds absolutely amazing. I have been pretty hyped for this book, and I was so excited when Flatiron sent me this copy. This came out back in February, and this, I believe, got pushed to July, I want to say. It's July or August, so keep an eye out for both of these. I got 2 middle grade books from Scholastic. So we have Ghost Squad by Clarabelle A. Ortega, as well as King and the Dragonflies by Kaysen Callender. King and the Dragonflies is about a boy, I believe, mourning the death of his older brother and how he is struggling because he's no longer close with his best friend, because King's brother told King before he passed that King shouldn't let anyone think he was gay. and so King distances himself from his best friend. He also thinks that his older brother has been transformed into a dragonfly, so that's part of the story. It is about a queer black boy. I'm really eager to read it. It's on my Pride TBR. And then Ghost Squad is a book that I've been anticipating because I followed the author online for years. I've followed the entire publishing journey of trying to get Ghost Squad published, and it's really exciting that it is now. It's about two best friends who, the night shortly before Halloween, they cast a spell and awaken a bunch of spirits. And so they get help from one of their grandmothers and a cute cat, and they are trying to put things right. I think it's going to be a perfect autumnal read. It's definitely on my fall TBR. Both of these are already out in the world. They've been published, but thank you so much to Scholastic for sending them my way. I also got The Electric Air by Victoria Lee. I'm very eager to read this. I have not yet read The Fever King, which is the first book in the duology, but this is a YA sci-fi dystopian series about immigration, magic. There's a kind of dark male-male romance. The main character is biracial, Jewish, bisexual, and I think I'm gonna love both of these books, so I was really hyped when I got sent the finished copy of The Electric Air. Now I have both books. I can just bust right through them. I got sent When We Were Magic by Sarah Gailey. This was sent to me by Simon Teen. Thank you very, very much, Simon Teen. This is a queer witchy book, which you all know is my favorite thing in the world. This is about a group of girls who are always together on everything, and then one night a bit of magic goes awry and a boy ends up dead. And it's about all of them trying to kind of deal with the situation. Sarah Gailey is an author I have been really wanting to support. Their book Upright Women Wanted recently came out as well, and I'm very excited. This was a March 3rd release. I think I'm going to love it once I finally get to it. I have two books that were sent to me by Fierce Reads. So we have 6 Angry Girls by Adrienne Kisner. I talked about this in my anticipated queer releases video for this current quarter. Although this did, I believe, get pushed to August, so I don't think it's actually being published in June anymore. This is about a girl named Raina who life is kind of kicking her ass, and then she happens upon this feminist knitting club, and all of them start fighting back against the things that have wronged them, and specifically wronged Raina. It has an ace main character. It's like a girl gang book. It says Knit Riot Repeat on the back. Very into it. We also have one of the biggest releases of the year. Everyone is talking about this book. Cemetary Boys by Aiden Thomas. This is another book that got pushed, so it will be in my next anticipated queer releases video. This is about a character named Yadriel, and he is determined to convince his family that he is a true brujo. His Latinx family is having issues accepting his gender, so he decides to summon the ghost of the person who killed his cousin so that he can get vengeance, and he ends up summoning his school's resident bad boy instead, and now he totally can't get rid of him. So this has a trans gay Latinx main character. It's a male-male romance. It's fantasy. It's about brujos. I am ecstatic that this was sent my way. I'm definitely reading it in June. Another queer release that I have, more than 80% of what I have is queer releases, but another one that I've got is The House in the Cerulean Sea by TJ Klune. This was sent to me by the publisher Tor, so that I could do a picture on Instagram, and also because I just desperately wanted to read it. I was like, yeah, I'll take a photo, but also I will read it and hype it to the ends of the earth. This is a book that I hyped in my first queer releases video of the year. It's about a kind of normal dude who gets called by the powers that be to go take care of 6 incredibly dangerous children over at the House in the Cerulean Sea. These are kids of mixed abilities. I'm not quite sure how many of them are actually human and how many of them aren't, but while he is taking care of these kids, he also meets a local guy, and the two start to fall for each other. This is supposed to be adorable and romantic and wonderful and everything. I have so many TJ Klune books. They were all sent to me at once. I now have 3. And I've never read anything by TJ Klune before, so I've got to get off my ass and start reading TJ Klune. Second to last, we have Little Family by Ishmael Bey. This was sent to me by Riverhead Books. I have been working with Riverhead a little bit more this year. They've been sending me more titles, and before their mailer list got perpetually shut down, they were just sending me emails about, you know, upcoming releases that I could just say if I wanted them or not. This is about 5 young people who have sort of improvised their own home in this abandoned airplane. And these 5 people are completely different, but they are slowly forming a family. There's more to it than that. There's the fact that one of the older kids is basically doing all that he can to keep the younger kids fed. There is someone who falls under the spell of one of the beautiful people and has a desire to return to the world she left behind. I had never heard of this until that email that I got from Riverhead, but as soon as I read the description, I knew it sounded like something I wanted to read, so they sent it to me. It says on the side that the release date was April 28th. If that is the case, then I won't leave anything on the screen, but if it's not April 28th anymore, this is when it's being released. And the last book that I have from a publisher is Look by Zan Romanoff. I talked about this again in my first queer releases video of the year. This is about a girl, and this video got posted. She didn't intend for it to get posted, and it has completely upended her life. She is super popular online, and she was not ready to come out as bi, and then this video of her kissing a girl kind of goes viral, and because of it, she loses her boyfriend, she loses her followers, she's thrust into the spotlight. I'm really invested in stories about social media and the person that we present online versus the people we actually are. It's just a story that I'm into, it's a concept that I'm into, so I was really hyped about this. It has a bisexual protagonist, and I don't know if you can see this, it says look at the top, but if you turn it just so, you can see that like is written underneath in like, it says like in these kind of reflective letters. It's a very cool cover. Just gonna say that. The last stack I have is books that were sent to me on my Amazon wishlist for my birthday. So first we have Under the Rainbow by Celia Lasky. This is a queer release that I have been really anticipating this year, and this was sent to me by Jem, so thank you so much, Jem. This is literary fiction. It's set in what is called the most homophobic city in America, and it is about this group of queer activists who go to this town to try to change minds and shift the perception of this town. So we've got an entirely queer narrating cast. I think it sounds really fascinating. I had never heard of a concept like this before, and I'm really hoping I'm gonna like it. I also have If We Were Villains by M.L. Rio. This is from Lily. You can find Lily at _Lily_Kate. It looks like that. This is a dark academia-esque, but more dark Shakespeare theater troupe mystery. It's also supposed to be super queer. People have been recommending this book to me for years because I'm gay as fuck and I live for Shakespeare and I love like murder mysteries. Was so excited to get this. I never find copies of this anywhere. It was so funny. Literally a couple of days after I received this book, Brody, I will leave Brody's channel linked down below, you should definitely be following them, was talking on Twitter about how they don't think anyone has ever gone out and specifically purchased If We Were Villains. It's always just that a copy of the book appears on your doorstep one day, and I had to be like, yo, this is literally what happened to me. I've been trying to find this for ages, and then one day it just turned up on my doorstep. Scary. Scary stuff. We also have a book from Riley, and that is In Other Lands by Sarah Reese Brennan. This is really hyped by queer booktubers. I haven't heard it so much outside of queer booktube. This is a fantasy set in a world called Borderlands, and it's about a 13-year-old named Elliot. And in the Borderlands, there are all of these fantastical creatures. See elves, harpies, and best of all, at least in Elliot's opinion, mermaids. Have to agree with you there, Elliot. Mermaids are the best. This is supposed to be queer friendship school fantasy, if that makes sense. It's way thicker than I was anticipating. Like, I thought this was a kid's book, and based on the length of this, I'm feeling like I have to change that in my brain. But I've heard nothing but amazing things about this. And I love mermaids, especially queer mermaid stories. this was on my wish list for a reason. Let's just leave it at that. We also have Heroine Complex by Sarah Kuhn. This was sent to me by Anna, who is my friend. Please, please watch Anna's channel. Link will be in the description below. Heroine Complex was on my TBR because I love YA superhero books. It's just a fact of life. I love YA superhero books. This is about a character named Evie Tanaka, who is just an assistant to her best friend, the most badass superhero in San Francisco. And then one night, for some reason, Evie has to go out and pose as Aveda Jupiter. And it turns out that Evie has powers too. It sounds great. I am so glad that Anna decided to send this to me. It was the most delightful birthday gift. Thank you, Anna. I already told Anna thank you, but thank you, Anna, again. I was really excited about this. And then the last two books in the stack I have already read. They were on my wish list because I read them from the library and I just really wanted my own copies. So first we have A City Inside by Tillie Walden. Tillie Walden is my favorite graphic novel creator, I think. I've been going back and forth, but I just absolutely think that's the case. A City Inside is a really, really short graphic novel. It's only about 40 pages long. It's all in black and white, and it begins as sort of a therapy session or a meditation session as this girl is working through her story of the relationship that she had with this girl and about how she lived up in the clouds and she fell for this girl and she decided to live on Earth because even if she wasn't as happy as she was in the sky, at least she was with this girl. It made me very emotional. I cried a lot reading this. It's the fastest I've ever cried reading a graphic novel. They're really simple art pages, very few words. But I absolutely love it because I love Tillie Walden. This was sent to me by _bookish.j on Instagram, and thank you. Thank God I own this. I am truly starting to fill out my Tillie Walden collection. I'm only missing a couple of her books. When I have them all, I'll just stack them around me and cry, probably. And the final book in this haul, the final book that I got in the month of March, we've got Noteworthy by Riley Redgate. I have wanted to own a copy of this for years. I read it as an ebook, like an early copy from the publisher. The main character of this book is named Jordan. She goes to this elite performing arts school, and she's been trying to get into musical theater, but she has this alto voice, and it keeps keeping her out of lead roles in musical theater, so she decides to disguise herself as a boy and audition for the all-men's a cappella choir on campus. This has a Chinese-American bisexual main character pursuing a possible male-female romance. It's very Pitch Perfect, but in a way that works for me because I hated Pitch Perfect, but I loved this book. It was like everything that I wanted Pitch Perfect to be. Plus, it's got messy queer feels and a great romance, random musical numbers, misunderstandings. I am obsessed with Riley Redgate. I have loved both of her books that I've read. I still really need to get to The 7 Ways We Lie, but this and Final Draft are both amazing books. I'm so glad that I own this now because I've always loved the cover too. This was sent to me by Rebecca, and specifically Rebecca said that she picked out this book for me because it was at the bottom of my Amazon wish list, so it was something that has been on there for the longest period of time, which I thought was so thoughtful. Thank you so much for this book. And thank you so much to all of you for helping make my birthday really special. Whether or not that involved a gift, it was just people wishing me happy birthday, people being kind. It was a really lovely thing to experience. I spent my birthday in quarantine. I was at home because we're all at home, and I think that I had been expecting a bit more, you know, pizzazz for turning 25, and just because of the situation we're in, it wasn't that kind of birthday, but you all made it a really special birthday, and I appreciate that. I know this is coming 2 months late, but I seriously really appreciate it. Thank you if you sent me books. Thank you if you sent me any of these books. I love these wonderful surprise packages that I receive sometimes. They absolutely make my day. Please let me know in the comments below a book that you got recently that you're really hyped about. It doesn't have to be from March. I know that we're a distance from March at this point. Just let me know about a book that you got recently that you're excited for. Also, like I said, be sure to check out Thread Tank for this shirt and other shirts, and you can use my promo code. Link in the description. Other than that, thank you all so much for watching. I really appreciate you watching, and I will see you in another video very soon. Bye!